What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So earlier on this week, I discussed the possibilities of the child tax credit payments coming back. I talked about how many lawmakers are discussing the possibilities of introducing new legislation to bring these payments back. However, I want to be very clear on one thing. It's not looking very likely in 2023. Okay? As far as seeing the child tax credits, the payments come back in 2023, it's not going to happen. Absolutely no way. Could it happen in 2024? Potentially, but it would not be the beginning of 2024. And I want to explain why. Right now, there's another bigger issue, and I want to address what this is first, and then we'll get into how President Biden is calling for the child tax credit payments to come back. So, I'll break down what's going on in today's video, but also all I ask is if you can spend just 2 seconds, go ahead, hit that like button. It really does help out the channel. Now, what's going on? Well, here's the big issue. The major issue right now is that the Senate's bipartisan approach to the government funding bill, it's putting a lot of pressure on divided House. However, it's also putting pressure on the Senate. What we do know is that the Senate is, again, even though it's the majority is Democratic, the problem is they are trying to put together a deal, a bill, that the House of Representatives will already reject. Because the House of Representatives is trying to pass a bill that is about $100 billion less than what the Senate's trying to pass. And obviously, that's one of the first issues. Some of the other things are they're trying to push part of their agenda. You know, some want to see President Biden be impeached or impeachment inquiries looked into before they even vote. Others in the House say they want to reduce spending beyond the $100 billion. It's actually $120 billion. So they want to reduce it even further. This is why some are saying that the government shutdown could be the costliest one ever. And I want to show you some charts here because what they are saying right now is interesting. Because in this chart, if you look at this one right here, it says government shutdowns and the markets. So you see right here the shutdown of 2018, shutdown of 1995, 1990, 2013, 95, 96, and 2018, 19. This is the costliest one yet right here. The only reason for this is simply because that is when former President Donald Trump was having this battle with Congress over the border wall. And so it actually shut down for a decent amount of time. I believe it shut down for almost a month. There's a date. Here's the date right here. This is when it shut down. Okay? Longest shutdown in American history, which occurred from December 22nd, 2018 until January 25th, 2019. Okay, it was because of the border wall. Now, I do want to read you this. Okay, how the stoppages work. So it says, how long could the coming shutdown last? According to Goldman Sachs, they said in a recent note that its baseline expectation was 2 to 3 weeks. However, there's they're saying 2 weeks is a strong possibility, but says those estimates, which plenty of Washington say are underplayed, would immediately rank among the longest shutdowns in history. So the expectation is we're actually going to lose about $3 billion. Okay? If this happens, we could see about a $3 billion loss because the government could potentially shut down for 2 to 3 weeks. However, some say it could be a little bit more. Now, why does this matter? What does this have to do with the child tax credit payments? Well, the reason why this could potentially shut down, or the U.S., the federal government could shut down, and again, as far as Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, it's still going to be there. Don't worry about it. You are still going to get your benefits. As far as TSA, and are they going to shut down airports? The answer is no. So what normally happens is the TSA agents will continue to go to work. However, they won't get paid. They will not get a paycheck until the U.S. government opens and can then go and pay them. So these agencies are going to continue to work, continue to operate, but they don't get paid. So the longer this drags on, many employees could decide, you know what, I'm just not going to come in because I'm not getting paid. I'm going to wait till I can get my paycheck and then I will come back in. That's where things really take a hit. But the reason why I'm bringing this up and all this stuff up regarding the child tax credit payments is actually pretty simple. President Biden wants the child tax credit payments. He wants $23 billion to go to Ukraine. He wants an additional, I believe, $12 billion to help fight COVID. He wants all these things included into the funding. However, money for Ukraine is not going to be there. $12 billion to help fight COVID, probably not going to be there. And $100 billion to for the expansion of the child tax credit, it's probably not going to be there this time. But it depends on what Republicans are putting out there. Republicans also want the child tax credit payments, but they also want work requirements, which Democrats said before they are not going to be open to that. As far as how much this has impacted children, has impacted the American people, well, in this article, it says Biden again calls for expansion of child tax credit. Here's the one key stat to pay attention to. I've already addressed it earlier on this week, but I want to talk about this again because it is extremely important. Okay? It says the Census Bureau study released this week found that the country's supplemental poverty measure, it's the SPM, the rate rose to 12.4% in 2022. It's an increase of 4.6% from the past year, which we haven't seen a spike like that since 2010. It says the most glaring stat from the study was that the SPM child poverty rate more than doubled to 12.4% in 2022 from 5.2% in 2021. And I know I got a lot of questions on the last one too. Well, why give us numbers for 2021 and 2022? What are the current numbers? Well, the problem with that is we don't have the current numbers. We just got the report for 2022, which means we are 1 year behind. That is the way it works. So we are already experiencing massive amounts of poverty. However, did the American people really know this? Did the federal government really know this until just recently? That's what they're saying, that they just found out about this. And now we need to do everything we can to ensure that children are not living in poverty. So, here's what could happen. And the reason I say could is because there is no guarantee that this is going to come through. What could happen over the next few months, okay, probably until January, we could get more discussions and potentially get some legislation going where lawmakers are pushing for a child tax credit payment, this enhanced child tax credit. As far as the payment's concerned, this is the monthly check that comes out. There's a lot of speculation that because the U.S. government has a program called FedNow. Okay, so you can go and can sign up for this FedNow program. I can pull up the website for you. So you can go and sign up for this thing, okay? And it just makes it where you get instant payments. So this is the website right here, okay? So FedNow instant payments. The FedNow service is live. You can read the announcement, the network, sign up, do all that stuff, okay? Wonderful. Now, the FedNow program, what you need to keep in mind about this is that being that it's now open, the federal government wants to use that. And so they've already spent the money out. They've already done the whole network, right? Put the service together. So now there's a lot of speculation that the federal government is going to push people to the FedNow program because they want to know how much you're spending. They want to know where you're spending your money, if you're saving it, how quickly you're going through it. They want to know all this stuff. Because that's not information that the federal government's really privy to unless these big banks and financial institutions are giving them this information. So if the US government has this information, they can block you from spending your money on certain things. That's where some are speculating that they're going to do it because they need to for certain types of people. Now, with that said, if they already have the payment thing in place that's FedNow, and you can go and sign up, and then now that you're signed up, if you get the enhanced child tax credit, you can go and get the monthly payment, but it has to go to the FedNow program. This is what's being discussed. And I think this is interesting. We haven't talked about the FedNow program since pretty much it went live. This was on July 12th, 2023. You can see it right here. This is from the federalreserve.gov. It says the FedNow service went live on July 20th, 2023. It is available to depository institutions in the United States and enables individuals and businesses to send instant payments through their depository institution accounts. Now, do I think this matters? I think it does. And we talked about this before, that this FedNow service was going to be a factor. It's there, it's in place. The child tax credit payments are now being discussed. If we see them, chances are it's going to go through the FedNow service. So just be on the lookout for some of these things. One thing I can say is, as far as the child tax credit payments, are they still going to be, $300 a month, $250 a month? Potentially, most likely. As far as the payments of $3,600 per year for older children and $4,200 or potentially $4,500 per year for children 0 through 6, or really 0 through 5, that is highly unlikely because that's going to cost even more money. Does it bring more children out of poverty? Yes, potentially it does. However, according to a recent report, going from $3,600 to $4,500 per year, it's not going to have that much of an impact. Okay? Right now, for every dollar that went into the child tax credit payments, into that program, it accounted for $8 of economic activity. That was huge. So, we're going to see what happens there, but as of right now, the expectation is the discussions are going to happen. The child tax credit payments will be part of the negotiations. However, some lawmakers say that will likely be the first thing that is cut. So, we will see moving forward exactly what is going on and what you could potentially be looking for. But as of right now, that is what we know. So, again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.